We are going to share our screen if it lets us. Computer audio. All right. Share. Here you've got to do ions, everybody. When you're given a name and you don't do the ions, there's basically no hope. So ions first in all of them. Ions in red. Control Z won't. Yeah. Ions in red. What's the lead II ion? I need a formula and a charge. We're only going to do the 12 ions first. Pb with what charge? 2+. Acetate, the ion. C2. Careful. H3. O2 with what charge? Careful. It's the second most important. Well, they're both equally important. You can use the other one as well. CH3COO. You get the same result, except you're writing it a slightly, your way is more descriptive, but you don't even know that. It's fine. Not a 2-. No, that would get you the wrong answer. 1-. Crossover says 2 goes with acetate, 1 goes with lead. Final answer here in beautiful blue is 1 lead, 1 peanut butter for 2 acetates. You have to know that it's a -1 for acetate. If I write a polyatomic ion, that just looks terrible. Sorry. And I want something that looks more like a 2. And how many of those? 2. And wow, I wrote all over my box here. Aluminum, what's the ion always? It's 3-. Don't ever say a metal's negative. Yeah, when you guys give me a charge, I need a number and a charge, a sign. Sulfide is S, 2-. And I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Then write all the ions first. Okay, I'll stick with what we ended up doing. Crossover says Al2, S3. Final answer. I'll highlight all the answers at the end. Cadmium. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 transition metals that don't have Roman numerals because they don't transition. 3. You got to know them. I'll review them here. They're on your review sheet. Silver's 1. Cadmium's another one. No, zinc's on top. Silver's 1. Zinc is another one. And no, copper transition, so don't do that. These are the 3 transition metals that don't transition. 3 transition metals. When I say they don't transition, it means I don't want Roman numerals that don't transition. Ag's +1. And it's called silver without a Roman numeral. And in this question, we have cadmium. So your ions are Cd2+. Wow, I don't know how that happened. Where am I? I went to the previous page. Cd in red. And you've memorized oxalates. C2, O4, 2-. C2, O4, 2- is oxalate. That's a 2. And they cancel. You could do crossover and get Cd2, oxalate parentheses 2. Then you got to simplify. And it ends up being Cd1, oxalate 1, which means no parentheses. I saw a few lab reports where they put the parentheses, they left the parentheses there. They forgot when they simplified and went down to 1 again. They're supposed to get rid of the parentheses. That will not be a big penalty if you put it there. Probably 0.1. If you put a parentheses around a polyatomic that there's only one of. It's not a huge mistake. It's just Pearson tells you it's the end of the world. You get 0. That's Pearson. If you have any mistake, it's 0, right? It's like that crankiest teacher you ever had in high school, you know? Oh, clearly an acid. Hey, you want partial credit and you're clueless about acids? Do you want to get a quarter point? Just write H. If you just wrote H first and only, I'm going to give you a quarter point because you remembered an acid starts with H. And the ions are H plus and I is this second last column. Everything on there has what charge? It only has to get one electron, I, to become like xenon. Need one extra electron. It's I minus. And Samantha was saying 100 years ago, the formula is HI, move on, Dr. Whittaker. I added the last part. Okay. And the next one's the second easiest question on the test. It tells you what to write. Okay, you don't get anything for that. What are you going to write instead? P, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. The binaries kind of, they name themselves and the name tells you the answer. Just don't fall in love with those prefixes. You start using those prefixes for ionic compounds, I'm not very forgiving. You're using the wrong system. If you're using monos, dis, and tris for ionic compounds, I'm just going to, done, 0. Okay? Uranium, U6 plus is the ion, correct? Yeah. And no, U6 plus. Okay. And F, always minus. UF6. You want some tidbit of real life chemistry? When they mine uranium to purify it to use in nuclear reactors, they take all the raw uranium and react it with an excess of fluorine, and all their uranium becomes UF6. And then they separate the two isotopes with those centrifuges that you may have heard of, or maybe not. That's okay. TMI. Off we go.